Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. We are back again in the middle of the barren international break. So here is another list video. Thank you for everybody who got involved with the video last week, which was all the championship managers from worst to best, 24th up to 1st. Thank you for everybody who watched and commented on that. So today I'm going to try and do the top player for every team in the championship. I won't go into too much detail, but I'll preface this by saying the top player isn't always the best player isn't always the top player, the most important player isn't always the best player, and the best player isn't the most important player, etc, etc. All a bit of opinion, but do get involved and let me know what your opinion is on this subject in particular. Let me know who you think the top player should be, rather than just either commenting on my hair or having a go at what I've said. Let's not waste any more time and get into it. I'm going to go in alphabetical order and I'll say who I think the top player is, and then I'll give an honourable mention. So let's start. Aston Villa. I'm going to go for Jack Grealish. Always a controversial figure. For some reason, English football fans, they don't like flair players. They like to applaud tackles and headers. And when you get a Paul Gascoigne or a Wayne Rooney or a Raheem Sterling who like to dribble and run and do flamboyant things, they don't tend to like them. Jack Grealish is the same. He has interesting hair and wears his short and doesn't wear any shin pads. And a lot of English fans can't get past this kind of flamboyant, showy off type character. They're done at that point. But I think I can look past that. I think he's a great player. I think he's always the most singled out player when anyone plays Villa. He's definitely the most marked and the most fouled. I think probably out of any player I've seen, he's got the best first touch in the division and a really, really good dribbler. People always point to goals and assists. Obviously they could be better, but you just need to go and watch a Villa game, and sometimes the stats do lie a little bit, and he'll pull everybody out of place and get the team up the pitch and win free kicks and things like that. And sometimes the marked player draws everyone else out of the way so other people can score and don't always get the goal or the assist. That said, he's now going to be playing number 10 for Dean Smith, so I hope those numbers go up. So I've gone for Jack Grealish for Aston Villa, and my honourable mention will go to John McGinn, his centre midfield counterpart. Birmingham, I've gone for Lucas Jutkiewicz. The way the championship operates, it's always important to have some kind of focal point up front, either stretching people behind or the big guy to hold it up. Jutkiewicz certainly fits that bill. Big target man, always relieves pressure and advances the team up the pitch. Birmingham have been on a great one. Gary Monk's changed his style a little bit, I think, than what we're used to. Great line leader, Jutkiewicz, old school. Two up front as well with him and Adams, and Jota and Magoma down the wings as well. It's a bit of a throwback team. 9 goals already for Jutkiewicz, and also 8 for Adams, I think. So really important player in that team in terms of getting them up the pitch, and he's put the goals onto it this season, looking like he's going to get a really decent total. And my honourable mention for Birmingham would be the aforementioned, I'll call him Hotter this time, Jota, Hotter, whatever you pronounce in the J. On we go, let's talk Bolton Wanderers. I've gone for Pavel Olkowski down the right hand side in the defence. Not been a great season for Bolton. I've seen them twice. They drew 0-0 and lost 1-0, so I haven't actually seen them score. But I liked Olkowski in both games, looked solid, got up and down, used the ball well. He's been used as a wing-back and as a full-back by Parkinson. Played in 16 out of 17 games, and I feel that he'll set a decent standard. Played for Köln in Germany and in the Europa League before this season, so possibly aspirations to go a bit higher. And for Bolton, my honourable mention will be Sammy Amiobi. I know he's only just got back, so I'm doing that a little bit on potential. Not a lot else to work with there with Bolton. Let's move on. Blackburn, my top player for Blackburn, bit of a no-brainer this one, we'll probably get a lot of agreement. Bradley Dack, probably the easiest one for any of the teams to call out there. The team seems to be set up for him to succeed. You have Graham playing ahead of him, 2 rows of 4 in behind, so he can operate in that space, finding space, getting goals and assists. Got 18 goals last season in League One. Looks like that total will be overtaken this season. 10 already in all competitions. Although where he ends the season might be an interesting matter. Blackburn already turned down 15 million from West Brom, but I feel at the crazy prices, I feel they would cash in either in January or in the summer. So it'd be interesting to follow Dak. He's certainly the standout player in Blackburn. Honourable mention, I've gone for the keeper, Raya, who was excellent when I saw him against Ipswich, and I saw one of those montage thingies. I know that always makes players look great, but certainly some great saves in there. Let's move on to Brentford. It's a tricky one. It might be stating the obvious, but when you have the top scorer in the league, it's hard to pick them, or hard not to pick them rather. So I've gone for Neil Maupay of Brentford. Came in last season, and the first thing we all knew about him was that crazy miss against Cardiff that went viral, but that's all been forgotten. Brilliant this season, up front in that passing Brentford team. And his goals haven't dropped off since Dean Smith has gone, which is a good sign for him and for Brentford. 12 goals in 15 games. I heard an argument to say, oh well, playing up front for Brentford is easy. You know, they really get lots of players forward and lots of 6-yard box goals. He's still got to put them in, and he's got 6 assists as well too, which puts him joint top of that list, which is great. He's only 22 years old, so will he be the next one off the Brentford production list to be sold? I've gone for Neil Maupay as Brentford's top player. My honourable mention there be Ollie Watkins. Let's move on. Bristol City, slap bang in the middle of the table. Top man, I've gone for Andreas Weimann, known as a bit of a speed merchant in his Villa days. Never quite got going at Derby County. Reed left for Cardiff, so they needed running power and pace like he did for them. So I assume that's why he was bought. And he started absolutely brilliantly. 5 goals and assists in his first league games. Lee Johnson's then gone full Lee Johnson and started switching everything about. So there's a little bit of a battle between him, Taylor, and Deju, vying for the spots up there. He needs to find the combination there. But I think Weimann's got the quality there to be the guy. So I've gone for him. Honourable mention, Thomas Callas, who could be a real important guy if Bristol City are to go from the middle of the table upwards. He's got that experience from Borough and Fulham, obviously promoted with Fulham, played a lot of games for them last season. Let's move on. Derby County. I didn't want to get sucked into all the hype with Mason Mount, but I'm going to go for Mason Mount. I saw his first game, his debut for Derby. I thought he looked a little bit lost as they were kind of getting to grips with Lampard's style. He did actually score in that game, but Manone pretty much threw that in the net. Bad fumble for him. Since then, he's gone on to become a really important player for Lampard. 19 years old and 19 games already, which is a hell of a lot. So he's been relied on and pretty much played everything there. Be interesting to watch as he goes on whether he can make an impact there at Chelsea, but certainly as a centre midfielder in the Championship, not a deep line playmaker or a number 10 really in that system, more a number 8, but good set play guy, good passer, good finisher obviously as well from long range. Looks like a really interesting one to watch, and you can't forget that he's 19 and he has all that responsibility already. Honourable mention, might be a bit biased from my Ipswich point of view, I've gone for Tom Lawrence there. Always seems to be in and around it whenever Derby are doing anything good. Hull City, gone for Jared Bowen. Bit of a surprise, nobody had a go at signing Bowen in the summer. Scored 14 in 35 for a not great Hull City last season, and he's not going to be 22 until this Christmas as well, so definitely young enough there. Right-sided attacker, always kind of comes inside on his left foot. Good dribbler, good finish, good pace. When I saw Ipswich lose at Hull, he was not only the main threat, but mainly the only threat in that win. So I've gone for Jarrod Bowen, top player there. Honourable mention to Fraser Campbell. He's been good in recent weeks. I wonder if he can run that out as the season continues. Ipswich, who I've seen the most, but statistically the worst team in the Championship. Hard one to call as they've been so terrible. So I've gone for Matthew Pennington, on loan centre-half from Everton's been really consistent. His debut, East Anglian derby, right into the cauldron of that game. Took that in his stride, got moved around the defence into a 3, then shoved out to right back. And then I think everyone realised, no, he's the best guy to play centre-back. And in a pretty bad team, he's managed to make himself stand out a few times and even grab himself a goal at Birmingham. Just edging my honourable mention, Gwion Edwards, who's done really well, but just been a little bit less consistent than Pennington has. Let's move on to Leeds United. Leeds United, top player, I've gone for Pablo Hernandez. He's 33 now, but still one of the best creative players in the division. Great runner with the ball and can deliver those key passes whilst he is running. 9 starts this season, 5 goals, 4 assists, brilliant starts. He was in the great start for Leeds. He was around for all those first 5 games. They got 4 wins and a draw. He then disappears, doesn't play any of the next 9, and Leeds only win 2 of them. Whether that's a coincidence or not, Leeds fans can tell me. He comes back and they start winning again. 2 goals and 2 assists in the first 4 starts back. Really like Hernandez there for Leeds. Honourable mention, Calvin Phillips, further back, more playmaker type guy there. Thought I'd pick him out too. Let's talk Middlesbrough now, where I've gone for the top player is Aidan Flint, who is the big money signing to replace Ben Gibson. And obviously in a Tony Pulis team, that rock at the back, we saw Shawcross for years, you know, the big burly tackler at the back, an important guy for Pulis. Very Championship hardened for Bristol City, 47, 53 and 46 appearances for each of the past 3 seasons, and he's slotted straight in there. That's what you want for that level of experience and that kind of money, just to go straight in and be good straight away. And Borough have kept 12 clean sheets, best defence in the division, and he's just gone straight in and done the job really well. Honourable mention to the guy behind him, Darren Randolph in goal, who has been called upon to save Borough from time to time to keep that amazing defensive record. Let's go on to Millwall, where I've gone for another big defender, and Jake Cooper. Lots of rumours in the summer linking Cooper with Glasgow Rangers. He was a really important part of that brilliant Millwall run last season and looks a very saleable asset. I think he's only 22 or 23, so plenty of years ahead of him. This season looks just as good. Like I say, in the Championship, every team needs that big burly centre-half, because you know you're going to come up against, most weeks, a big burly forward. Good aerial ability, aggressive plays on the front foot. He's played every minute for Millwall. And the goal threat as well is there. Last season, 4 goals, 3 assists. This season, even better, 2 goals, 6 assists. And he's become very difficult to pin down, as Millwall seem to spend their whole set plays trying to get him on his own, away from the crowd, one-on-one, to head back into more attacking positions. And he did that twice against my team, Ipswich. Honourable mention to Lee Gregory, who always seems to get goals up front, never lets up. Gregory. Let's go to Norwich. They're having an amazing season up there. I've gone for their top player as Timu Pukki. Seen Norwich twice this season, once against Ipswich. Pukki played number 10. He looked alright, but that game was a bit chaotic. The next game he's moved up front against Borough. He scores the winner. And then I saw Norwich play Reading, and he's up front there leading the line, and I thought he was really good. Then good focal point in terms of the ball, not big guy, but the ball sticks to his feet and he's got good first touch and then can carry the ball and let others come up around him. Finishing's excellent, 15 goals already for club and country this season, and let's not forget, free transfer as well. Great asset for Norwich there. Pukki. Honourable mention has gone Moritz Leitner, who's the playmaker further back for Norwich. Really good passing stats for him. Let's move on. Nottingham Forest. I've gone for Lewis Graben. The entire the entire idea of football is to score goals, so every team needs a goal scorer, and there's a lot of evidence for Graben now being Mr. Championship go-to guy. That's why Forest would have splashed out the $6 million they spent for him. Took him 7 appearances to score, but 10 in 11 games since then. Promoted previously with Bournemouth and Norwich, and he eked out 20 goals last season in 2 spells, one with Sunderland, who ended up getting relegated, and a very cautious Aston Villa side. So definitely one of those guys, kind of Darren Huckabee type guy, Division 1.5, not quite doing it in the Premier League, but always good in the second tier. Honourable mention for Forest, gone for Joe Lolly. Let's go on to Preston, gone for Callum Robinson, a left-sided forward player, managed to stand out in a side that hasn't performed anywhere near the standards they had last season. I think he's been down the middle and a bit further back as winger, so good versatility. Mainly a supporting forward though. 9 goals in all competitions, looks set to be his biggest return. He got 10 in 2016-17. He won't turn 24 until February, so very highly valued prospect there. Callum Robinson. Honourable mention in midfield for Alan Brown. QPR. I've gone for a bit of a pretentious one here. I've gone for Jeff Cameron. I know Freeman, Eze, Hamed and Wells are all good. Hear me out. Rangers made this terrible start to the season. In comes Cameron on loan from Stoke. McLaren sticks him in front of the back four. Luongo's running and he's kind of calling the shots from that deeper position. Rangers go back to basics and all of a sudden they start winning with Cameron in there. Freeman and Eze have got good insurance given by him behind them. He's been in 10 games for Rangers this season and their record in those games, won 7, drawn 2, lost 1. That's either a massive coincidence or a strong impact. As I said at the start of the video, the most important player is not always the best player and the best player is not always the most important player. I think that way round, Cameron might be the most important player without being the best player in that team. Honourable mention for Eberechi Eze, who is the number 10, who is very good against Ipswich, but the whole system is built on that solid foundation behind him. Let's go on to Reading. I've gone for Yaku Maite. Really the only shining light when I've seen Reading any time this season. He was used in midfield, they put him up front, and all of a sudden they found themselves a goal scorer. Fairly straightforward player, big and powerful, but obviously he can finish. And I know they've got John Daddy Budvarsson, who's also big and powerful. He's scored some goals this season, but the criticism of him was that he couldn't finish, so maybe somehow between this configuration they're going to have this sorted by the end of the season. Great run, 6 goals in 5 games, staying in the side up front. A goal scorer in one of those teams down the bottom can really push them up the table, because you can kind of sit there and be a bit more defensive knowing that you've got a finisher, having that confidence that the few chances you do create might get finished. Honourable mention for Liam Moore at the back, who seems to trot it out season after season in quite bad Reading teams and look alright. Let's move on to Rotherham. I've gone for Semi Ajayi. Ajayi's a centre-back by trade, and this might be a bit of an outlier, but when I saw him played in front of the back four against Millwall, and he was very good, and it looked like the Rotherham system was completely suited to his style, in that he's big and athletic, very good on the clearances and interceptions. Looked a very good fit in that style which we've seen Rotherham playing all season. I think his versatility, consistency, he's played every minute as well, should be a key man for them this season. Honourable mention to the keeper, Marek Rodak in goal. On we go to Sheffield United. Gone for Oliver Norwood. Joined on one of these weird, we'll loan you until January and we'll loan you and then sign you in January, that everyone seems to do to negate the transfer window. Promoted the past 2 seasons for Brighton and Fulham, but couldn't quite get into either of those main positions in those teams. Only 16 and 22 starts. But I've seen him twice now and he's been absolutely excellent. Deep line playmaker, great passer, great tempo setter. Love the way he receives the ball, and this system again works really well for him. People pushing on ahead of him and then he drops back into the space. They create those marauding Blades defenders ahead of him. Honourable mention, I've gone for Billy Sharp, just keeps going and going, and I think he's got 10 goals in all comps this season, possibly. Could be wrong about that, but always worth checking in there. Sheffield Wednesday, I have seen them twice, and I've got to go for Barry Bannon. Not been a great season for Wednesday. I've seen them 3 times actually, win, a draw and a loss. Each game they've looked to Bannon to be the main guy in their team. Good range of passing, good ability to drive forward and dribble as well. Good set play delivery, which won them the game when I saw them against Ipswich. It's been noticeable as well in each of these games how he seems to have become a little bit frustrated with the level of those around him as well. Picked up fouls and sort of bookings as a result as well. Honourable mention here to Adam Reach, who had that run of scoring from 25 yards for about 3 games run. I just think Bannon's been a bit more consistent. On we go. Stoke City. I've gone for Ryan Woods, another third midfielder in a row there. Always a favourite of mine when I saw him playing for Brentford. Up he goes to Stoke to do exactly the same job, and even made captain in Ryan Shawcross' absence. I think possibly the best deep line playmaker in the division, although Norwood would probably rival him there. Now he's got he's been elevated a bit by being probably the best player in the Sheffield United team. Woods sets the tempo for his team, seems to be dovetailing well with Joe Allen in midfield when I saw Stoke play against Sheffield United. Honourable mention, Tom Ince. Let's move on. Swansea, I've gone for a potential one, might be getting overexcited, but gone for Daniel James down the left for Swansea. Had to throw one presumptive one in. James, left wing, he's only made 7 starts for Swansea, but looks brilliant, quick and intelligent, dribbles the ball, carries it well. Probably needs to work on his end product, but if he hones that, can add to those 3 assists he's got up front, and will enjoy Wilfred Bonney coming back in the team there. Seems to have partnered up well with Ollie McBurney up front. I know wingers can go missing, but he's only 21 and he seems to be able to do it at championship level. So looks like a good player there for Swansea. Honourable mention for McBurney up front, who's carried a bit of the burden of no Bonney. On to West Brom now. Gone for Dwight Gale. I know he hasn't started every game for West Brom, and it's almost like a pure finisher is a bit of a luxury player nowadays. In 4-2-3-1s and 4-3-3s, they seem to be able to need to do a bit more. But like Lewis Graben at championship level, Dwight Gale is basically Sergio Aguero. In 26 starts for Newcastle, got 23 goals when they went up 2 years ago. Already 9 in 12 starts for West Brom. Throwback player, just a poacher, quick off the mark, great finisher, and expects to score in every single game. Literally one job, and maybe that's why he hasn't started all the games for West Brom, but certainly at championship level, Dwight Gale is absolute money. Finally, last one, Wigan. I've gone for Nick Powell, famously signed by Alex Ferguson for Man United in 2012, I think for $6 million from Crewe. Powell, still only 24, but seems settled now at Wigan. He's used either just off the front, second striker type position. Started the season excellently, 3-3, 4 goals and 4 assists, which makes him Wigan's most effective attacker. Maybe he's found his level now and his consistency, but surely he'll want another go at the big time. Honourable mention for Wigan for Cheyenne Dunkley at the back. So there we go, that concludes my list, attempting to name the top player for each championship team. Do get involved in the comments, but please give me your opinion rather than just having a pop at mine. Be interested, if you do disagree with me, oh, he's not the top player, tell me who you think is the top player and why. I've tried my best to justify my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right, and it doesn't mean you can't disagree, but it's worth just saying what you do think rather than just saying you don't agree with what I think. I hope you've enjoyed these couple of videos over the international break. We'll be back to match reviews and whatnot next week when the football starts up again. If you have enjoyed, like I said, give me a thumbs up. Please get involved in the comments. Don't see these teams every week, and like I said, 3 of them I haven't seen, so I'm going on what I've seen on the telly there. So very interested in first-hand reports of some of these players that I've spoken about. And if you really enjoyed the video, please give me a subscribe. That'd be really helpful. Lots of subscriptions this past month or so, and there'll be way more championship content for you to keep up with there. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom, and we'll see you again soon when the football finally restarts. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.